Hi, in this lesson, we'll learn how we can return values from functions to be used back in our main program. Let's go. Let's start by recapping what we know about functions. We can have a function without parameters that just does the same thing every time it is called, like this double function, which prints the value of 2 times 5 when it's called. Every time we call this function, 10 will be printed. We can also define functions with parameters, which will do a slightly different thing every time it's called based on the parameters we use and the values that are given to it. In this altered version of the double function, we can give the function a value, and it will print back to us whatever double that number is. In this case, when we give it the number 8, it will print 16. But what if we didn't want to print that value? We wanted to use that value to do something else. Well, this is where return values come in very handy. In this scenario, our double function is not just printing that doubled value. It is returning that value back to the main program, and then the value that's returned is being used to control the size of the radius of a circle being drawn. Let's take a deeper dive into how this is working. The first line of code to execute in this program is line 4. This line is creating a variable called radius and setting the value of the variable equal to double 25. Now, what is double 25 doing? It is calling the function double and using 25 as the argument. The computer pauses at that line of code because it needs to run the function in order to assign radius a value. It hops up to the previous code and looks for a function called double. It finds it on line 1 and sets the value of num here to 25. Now it runs the command on line 2 with 25 as the value of num. This value is multiplied by 2 and becomes 50. This value of 50 is returned back to the main program, where it was called, and it is set as the value for the radius variable. Now, when line 5 is called, the value of 50 saved inside radius will be used to control the size of the circle. There's actually a way to minimize this code a bit further, and that is by calling the function right inside the circle command. It may be necessary for us to save that radius value inside a variable, but if it's not, we can totally make the function call right where we need to use that value. This may look a little strange, but all we are doing is calling for that returned value right where we need it to be used. Now, return values don't have to be integers. In this case, we can call the capitalized function on a string, and it will return to us the string once it has been run through the capitalize method. We can then print back the full name with first and last both capitalized. Before we dive into an example, let's take a look at a keyword that we have used before and introduce a new use case. The in keyword has been used inside our for loops. When we use the keyword in this way, we are basically telling the computer to do something for each value of I in the range we have given. In this case, the values of I will be 0, 1, and 2, and the commands will be completed once for each of those values. We can also use this keyword in comparisons to use inside if and else statements. When we use it this way, it tells the computer to check if the string we have given exists inside the second string. In this example, since the character A is in the string start, the if statement command will be completed and Tracy will turn right. The else statement command will be skipped. We will practice using the in keyword in this way in some exercises in this lesson. In this lesson, we learned how to return values from functions. Refer to the example we went through to help you use return values to solve some Tracy challenges of your own.